Hey, what's up guys, Ref here. So I tried to resist, but the temptation was just too much. Today we're going to take some time and talk about the Nijisanji Defender hit list that was recently made. This is something I covered on stream, but I wanted to give a more in-depth analysis on the main channel because it's just been pecking away at my sanity. The more I think about it, including what's included in that document and what's not included in that document. And also since that stream, we've seen Legal Mindset weigh in on the document and point out some more legal concerns contained throughout it. If you haven't seen Legal Mindset before, he is an attorney who has covered a lot of the Nii-Sanji related situations over the past couple of weeks, weighing in on the legal concerns and giving some really useful analysis, which we'll also use for today's video as we go through this document. So what is this document? Well, it is a list made by Nijisanji stands that is supposed to be a blacklist, a block list, or even a hit piece or hit list as some people have categorized it, because it is a list of indies, merch companies, artists, YouTubers, and alike, even just regular Twitter users who have either criticized Nijisanji or supported Dokibird, which is already a very tough thing to do because right now there's over 600,000 people supporting Dokibird on her YouTube channel through subscriptions, so it's kind of hard to block all of those people. But nonetheless, they start out here and go through this entire analysis, and they power rank all of the people they list. So as we start, these are the most serious offenders in the eyes of these Nijisanji fans. We're going to start off with this first person. They say, first and foremost, block this person. One of the most disgusting people in the community, two-faced, who talk trash about AnyColor / Nijisanji, Alira, and Vox, and retweet revenge poontang of Alira and make fun of her. Obviously, this is a very serious accusation to make, and here is this Flipsy person. You can see their Twitter account right here. They've been very vocal in their criticism against Nijisanji. In fact, I believe a couple of their tweets have ended up in my videos covering the ongoing situation with Nijisanji. But this accusation of them retweeting and sharing revenge poontang is a very legally concerning one because in most places throughout the world, revenge poontang is illegal, and rightfully so. But what we're talking about here, as we'll see, does not fit any sort of definition of that. We're not talking about any sort of image using the person of Alira Pandora from Nijisanji Yen. We're talking about hentai of her VTuber model. Now, I saw the image. It's a pretty shocking one, okay? If I remember correctly, the image they're referring to is one where Alira's character is getting McGangbanged by her management, and they make a quote, something along the lines of, basically, this girl will do anything for that 2% cut, referring to the fact that there's claims out there that Nijisanji livers only get a 2% cut on merch sales, which is insane, by the way. But this is a very serious accusation, and it's implying or claiming that this user is committing an actual crime. And that's when we get people like Legal Mindset pretty involved because this is a serious accusation. This is defamatory. This is something that could have legal consequences, making this claim about this user, as we'll hear from Legal Mindset.
What I want to say that people should be very careful of, and this is advice to everybody, whether you are a Niji anti or a Niji stan, you need to be very, very careful. You need to be very careful when you accuse somebody of a crime. In most of, at least most countries, revenge prawn, and I guess I'm saying prawn like the prawn, but because I don't like to say it too, it's too early. We're 15 minutes in, right? That is a crime. This is now a crime in most places. So you should think very carefully if what you're saying is an actual crime or if it's not, right? And what I am going to throw out there is hentai may be distasteful, but it probably doesn't meet the statutory definition of that crime in most jurisdictions. So it can be distasteful. It could be disgusting. It could be whatever you want it to be, right? You could say they're doing very distasteful hentai, but it's not actually going to meet the definition of that crime in almost all jurisdictions. If they just listed a bunch of names and they didn't give any reasons, that would be one thing. But the problem is they started giving reasons. And if these reasons are accurate, that could, if it describes a crime, be defamation. Also, if it describes a business and it's disparaging towards that business, that can be potential a form of business defamation or business disparagement.
Now, one thing I always find entertaining is when actual lawyers and people who are qualified weigh in on situations like this, because they look at some of the things happening in documents like this and they're flabbergasted by how openly people are saying these very, very serious accusations that could have legal consequences if they're not true. And that is something that is just the result of the current state of content creation, where on YouTube and on Twitch, you can just slander people left and right and defame them and nothing will happen to you. Or at least people expect nothing to happen to you, because people have just decided that saying these disparaging, awful things about people and hurting their reputation is fair game if they just feel like it, because there's no consequence. But when in reality, these things do have potential legal consequences, and people like this get very scared if they're actually confronted with the possibility they could be in legal trouble. But that's the flipsy person. So now we're going to move on to the next section: drama tubers, clippers, YouTubers, and streamers. Again, we're doing a power ranking here, so here's their biggest offender, and that is Kyomaru. You might be familiar with our resident buddy man here. He is a YouTuber who covers VTuber news and drama. He is very objective. He just kind of lays out the information out there, and he does inject some opinions here and there, but he's not as opinionated as someone like me. However, covering Nijisanji for years and some of the misdeeds of their company that are publicly known, he has gathered a lot of antis from Nijisanji who are consistently angry about him, and you can see it reflected in the description of this document, saying DramaTuber, the one who stirs the situation the most, admitted he hates Nijisanji and is biased. Screenshot of the deleted tweet. So I don't understand what being biased has to do with anything. Who cares if he's biased? He's not a journalist, he's a YouTuber. And of course, Kyo is going to be biased. Not only because of what he's seen Nijisanji do, he has a very serious history with Nijisanji. Back in 2023, we covered this on the channel. It's been exactly a year since this happened. Nijisanji abused the YouTube copyright system to take down roughly 20 of his videos covering Nijisanji news and drama that portrayed the organization or their livers in a negative light. And they abused the system. And I remember when this happened, a bunch of people, mostly Nijisanji stans, celebrated this abuse of the copyright system because it took down someone that they didn't like. Of course, that's very short-sighted. The time you celebrate your enemy getting abused by the copyright system, the next moment, someone you like is going to get the same treatment, and then it's going to be too late to complain about it. But of course, people like this don't see that, the Nijisanji stans. But anyways, eventually he worked that out and disputed all the strikes and got his videos back. But it was obviously a very, very concerning situation and a terrible look for Nijisanji that would only be the tip of the iceberg, as we've seen over the last year, where the reputation has continued to go down in flames. But of course, he's going to have a bit of a bias against this company. And here's the tweets that they're providing. He says, "I hate Nijisanji." Okay, fair. Based on what happened to him, very fair. And it's a quote of this tweet talking about the Nijisanji situation, trying to cut some slack for Nijisanji. And you can see here they're basically saying, can you stop, actually, you're acting like this is new information. All the talents are grown adults who consensually signed a contract and knew what they were getting into. Stop using slang and blah, 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 blah. Obviously trying to make excuses for Nijisanji, and that's his response. Again, I don't really understand why you'd be surprised by that. But moving forward, there are more YouTubers and VTubers listed. The next one is False ID, which kind of makes sense if you're listing Kyo, because his content is very similar to Kyo. A lot of VTuber-related news and drama done in more objective formats, but they don't even try with false. They just say DramaTuber, scum of the earth, number 2. Now, adding a little section like this, Scum of the Earth #2, immediately signals to me that this document was made by a bunch of, well, probably cranky crybabies, but maybe even children, because who talks like this in a document where 2 seconds ago they accuse someone of a crime, but then they get to false ID and just say, I Scum of the Earth #2. They're not even trying. It's kind of embarrassing, but in terms of the content he's made, yeah, he's covered this situation extensively, probably comparable to Kyo, and it makes sense. It's right up his alley. It's right up both of their alleys in terms of content. But next on this list, again, power rankings. This is the 3rd biggest offender among content creators. You have this YouTuber named Dreamachu. Okay, and the simple description of their crimes is that I don't know their Twitter and said on their community post that they don't want to support Nijisanji anymore. Which, by the way, if you're going to make a document like this, wouldn't you find their Twitter? Like, is it that hard? They put no effort into this. But then they say the community post. So I went to this Dreamachu's channel and I looked for community posts disparaging Nijisanji any sort of way. This was the closest thing I could find. Literally just posting some termination announcements and saying, what a great way to wake up. Obviously not happy about this situation. And then there's another post where they list a bunch of independent VTubers as well as agency VTubers you can support as an alternative to avoid the drama, where it doesn't even seem like they name Nijisanji. They just provide other content creators to support that does not include anyone from Nijisanji. But that's their crime and what lands them on this list. Again, a list that contains someone being accused of a crime by this document's makers. Very crazy. The next one is Tectone, and they say, actively riling up the hate. And after the Black Box stream, he tweeted, I love how Nijisanji's response was, please respect everyone but Selen. And I believe Tectone's made like 2 videos on this situation, maybe a couple more. And one of them, he was reacting to me, which will be relevant in a second, because if we scroll down here, there's another just kind of drop list of content creators with no description of what they did. Seemingly, they just made content on the Nijisanji situation. Starting off with Moist Critical, where he made a singular video on this situation, which again, it's weird to compare him to someone like False or Kyo, who have made dozens of videos. But the next person you see somewhere in your gamers, Mudahar, I believe he made 1, maybe 2 videos on the situation. And then next is Asmongold, which is very interesting for a reason I'll get into in a second. Asmongold has reacted to at least a half a dozen, if not more, videos on the situation and uploaded those onto YouTube. And what's interesting is, I would say the majority of those videos where he's reacting to my videos covering the Nijisanji related drama and situations, which is odd because look at this list. Who do you not see? Me! They snubbed me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not on the list, and I'm not the only one that is confused by their name not being on this list, but what do I gotta do? How do I up my game to get on this Nijisanji hit list? Like, what is going on? I've made dozens of videos over the past couple of weeks. They amount to millions of views. I've made tweets. I've made streams. What could possibly be lacking? I should be on this list, especially since some of the people reacted to me who ended up on this list. But anyways, very weird snub on their behalf, but there's some other names that are not on this list, including people, I believe Nuxtaku talked about it. Also, Depressed Now Sagi, who covered this situation extensively, and he is someone who is very critical of Nijisanji in any color, but also Legal Mindset, as we talked about earlier. There's no way he shouldn't be on this list if these other names are on here, but I think maybe with him in particular, they might be a little afraid of a lawyer who is pointing out on many occasions some of the genuine legal concerns documents like this are raising for themselves, the authors of the document. So maybe that was a smart move on their behalf. But yeah, I got snubbed, and basically it looks like I made this document or something for content, right? I left my name out just to spare myself the Niji sisters and maybe pretend like I'm on good terms with them, and then make some videos out of it, right? Who knows? It's making me look guilty, guys. I don't like it. But moving forward, we're on to the next part of this document. Artists and merch. Merchants, merch companies, however you want to phrase it. They all are listed out here. There's a lot of them, okay? And I don't want to go through picking every single one because the theme is very, very obvious here, okay? Besides this one saying, literally think they're just hate rating, but they did the Alira/Vox revenge poontang. The tweet and arts are deleted. I have no screenshot of this because I never see it and I never want to see it. Also, you apologize later on. Again, you're accusing someone of a crime that does not likely fit hentai within its definition, but they're starting with that. But the remainder of basically all of these are these artists and merch companies discontinuing Nijisanji collaborations. That's pretty much it. You go through all these, and also like called Nijisanji loser. Called Niji loser. What, the organization or a person? What? This person here will not be restocking. That's it. It's not even like these people are actively attacking Nijisanji. People are retiring their Nijisanji fan merch, not producing any more Niji merch. These people aren't attacking Nijisanji, they are disengaging from the topic. That's all they're doing. And the fact that this lands them on a hit list is absolutely crazy because we all know, as Legal Mindset also addressed, this list is inciting harassment, okay? People on this list are there with the intent of its authors to have something negative happen to them, whether it's harassment or getting them blacklisted or whatever. We all know what the purpose of a document like this is, which puts them in some of their own concerns about their culpability for this document, but still, we all know you're including all these names with the intent that something negative will happen to them. Like I said, getting harassed, what have you, and these artists are landing on here for absolutely nothing. You can see another catch-all list here where they just kind of like got tired. I mean, imagine finding all of these names just for artists and listing them here. You had to do a lot of digging. The time they put into this document is insane, while it's also somehow low effort because they can't even list reasons, just merch. What does that mean? They're not making merch, or are they making merch that you don't like? People saying that they won't draw Nijisanji. Okay. There's a lot of artists who just don't draw Nijisanji just because they don't want to draw them in general, not for any sort of a reason. Are they on this list too because they're not supporting them actively? But going forward, this is the end of the document here. Indies, other corpos, etc. So just a whole list of people even liking tweets, poking fun at Nijisanji or celebrating Dokibird's success will get you landed on this if you're other indies in the situation. They also list Sayu here, who we covered in one of the videos. He made a statement about his experience where he was potentially going to work with Nijisanji, and they told him that he would have to, or strongly implied he would have to give up his voice acting career entirely if he was going to join the agency, which he flat out said no to, and it was just a very weird experience that he shared. But going down here, this is the real catch-all, my mistake. This is the, I don't know who, but they got followers. They are seething. The people who made this are seething. They made a list of, I don't know, but I don't like them, and they made memes on the situation, so we're adding them to the list. And if you're one of these people just in the catch-all here, make sure to point it out in the comments section. But there was a lot of names here and a lot of different accounts from different sides of the internet, and it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy someone put in this much time. And I guess the good thing I would say is that I know a lot of these people, so that must mean they're doing something pretty good. But anyways, that's going to do it. This is the extensive look at this document. I want to take some more time today, and I'm glad that I did it because this document has been eating away at me. And maybe on the next one I can get an appearance finally. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please share all of your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.